What up, y'all? I am back for another video. Sorry I didn't do a video last night. I had to be asleep early, but today, listing my favorite movies from 1998. And 98 was a pretty good year. Um, getting very close now to 2000, to the new millennium. I think, obviously, as a wrestling fan, Attitude Era, that's like probably the biggest thing when I think 98 is that year. Is that the Attitude Era, Rise of Stone Cold. I'm not going to go too into that, but like that stuff. I think the first Resident Evil had just come out. Like gaming is starting to get really kind of big at the time. Getting into the late 90s, effects are getting better and stuff like that. So I, of course, had to. And movie wise, it was a big one. I mean, obviously, one of the movies on here you objectively aren't great, but I mean, because of what it means to me, that's why I have it higher up on the list. If we're doing objective, it probably should be lower, but fuck it. But 98, there's a pretty good list. So next year though, 99. Whew, I gotta see if I can figure out a way to not make sure that doesn't get too big, because 99 there was a lot, like Lake Placid, The Mummy, which is gonna be my number one, Phantom Menace, The Matrix, um, Deep Blue Sea was 99, um, Austin Powers, Spy Shag Me, which that's also gonna be on the list. So it's 99 is gonna be probably a big list. I'm gonna have to see. We'll see. This one's like 11, which is not as big, but before I get into that, what I got going on this week is today, this Tuesday, which technically is now midnight. I'll be doing for sure Casino Royale. Wednesday, Total Recall, which I can't wait because I have not. It's been a minute since I've seen the first Total Recall. So, in one of Arnold's best movies, I mean, three fucking titties. It's like the best thing to come out of that movie. And, joking, but like in general, I love that movie. It's a nice sci-fi flick, but it's also still like a little bit of an Arnold action flick, a little bit too. So, doing that one. Thursday, I'm either gonna do the Meg or I'm gonna do the Scream video. Last Voyage of the Demeter. Oh, I gotta explain what happened with that. Sorry. I was supposed to see it yesterday, but my fucking dumbass felt like I dozed off. I like took a nap and then like I woke up. By the time I woke up, it was already like past the time I was supposed to see it. Or no, it was like a couple of minutes before I was supposed to go see it. So I'm gonna see it this weekend. I'm also watching Blue Beetle. So I'm reviewing that too. So I gotta figure out. I want to do Demeter first, because at least that's something I like, and I'm actually gonna go see that. There's Blue Beetle. Let's just say WB is gonna give me a special copy. Let's just say that. But Friday I will be doing, of course, Spider-Man 2, which I cannot wait. That's the best Spider-Man movie. No arguments at all. There's no, to me, the only other answer maybe I can potentially be like, okay, is the first Spider-Man. But to me, Spider-Man 2 is it. So I'll be doing that. Saturday, we'll see. And then Sunday, most likely, Last Voyage of the Demeter. Actually, I might, it depends on when I go see Voyage of the Demeter. It may be Saturday. So if I see it Saturday, I'll review it Saturday night. So we can, fortunately, do Blue Beetle Sunday. But we'll see. But let's get into my 1998 list. Number 11 is Waterboy. One in. And I'm just gonna, let's just say retroactive for my 96 list to include Happy Gilmore. I'll admit, I fucked up not include. I forgot that was 1996. And also, for some fucking reason, it didn't like. Because to me, that was like one of the bigger movies of that year. But for whatever reason, it didn't come up in like the popular movies of that year. So, but yeah, so Retroactively, I'm adding that. But this one, my opinion, just the whole premise, like Bobby Boucher is just a water boy, and then he ends up becoming a member of the team because somebody makes fun of water. I mean, you get that classic H2O, Gatorade, like that whole movie. It's just one of Adam Sandler's best. Like, fucking Fairuza Balk's in this movie as the love interest. Kathy Bates is the mom, who actually fucking is great. Um, Foosball's the devil. I'm gonna eventually for sure review that. I don't like usually review comedies like that. I mean, it depends on the comedy, but yeah, for sure, I'm gonna review that one. Just it's fucking hilarious. You can do it. Like, just so much came from that movie. So yeah, that's my number 11. My number 10 is The Faculty. To me, this movie is one of the greatest like sci-fi movies, and it's crazy because it came out like at this time. It was still that, like, obviously post Scream era, post Scream slash I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I I do like the second I Know What You Did Last Summer. Just, I guess, side point. Because when I was thinking about, yeah, I forgot I didn't include I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which was also 98. I just don't think it's as strong as the first one, even though the first one, there's some of that plot makes no fucking sense, but I still think it's a better movie. I think the second one, the problem is, I don't like the whole tropical island thing. I think that was a weird, what made that first one work was that small fish town. Sorry, this is a little side tangent really quick. Because there is a couple, like, movies that I kind of did leave out. And obviously one I'm going to get to that's just on purpose, but and I just think this one isn't as strong. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I just felt like I needed to mention it. Halloween H2O is hot garbage. Y'all know how I feel about that movie. I read a whole video on it. It is, to me, the weakest of the, if you want to call them like the original 8 Halloweens, where it was like 1 through 8, even though they're in different timelines, but they still dealt with, like, it was before that remake timeline and before like all those other ones were like erased. So, but yeah, that movie just isn't good. So no, I didn't include that one. But yeah, at that same time, you had movies like that. That's when The Faculty came out, and the fact that it starts off kind of like a late '90s kind of, you think it's just gonna be a late '90s like teen movie. It's not, because it's dragging on. You find out they're being taken over by aliens or controlled by aliens. And the students have to fight to survive, basically. It's a great fucking movie. I'm definitely gonna review this one. Maybe like when we get into September, there's gonna be a few like horror related stuff. I think I might start horror month early. Instead of waiting till October, I might just start it in September. Maybe that'll be one of them I do, because even though I'd say Faculty is more sci-fi, there is horror elements. And the fact that they did a beautiful blend, because that first, like, I'd almost say hour, it plays like a high school movie. Yeah, there's a few bits where you could tell there's something up with the teachers and there's little alien shit in there. But it does kind of start off as just like your normal teen kind of movie. But then you get that. They drop that other shoe where it's an alien movie. It's so good. The effects actually hold up. I watched it like a couple years ago, and the alien effects still hold up. And yeah, I really love it. So I had to mention it for my 98. My number 10. No, wait, 9. Fuck, I'm fucking up my numbers. Number 9, X-Files. The X-Files movie. Yes, this very much is just a giant episode of the show, which is supposed to take place between seasons 5 and 6. But I gotta say, yeah, it's very much just a giant episode of the show, but with a movie budget. But let's say Riggs and Murtaugh, Jesus fucking Christ. Mulder and Scully's chemistry is, in my opinion, because I think it's like they amplified it because they saw, okay, we're going to be on the big screen now. We're not going to just be on TV. because this is still at that time where movies, let's be real, were seen bigger than TV shows compared to now, where I'd almost say you could sometimes say equal. So it's like they brought it extra up because they're like, okay, well, this is gonna be on a movie. People are gonna be paying to see this, so they definitely amped up their performances. I love the whole reveal that aliens colonized Earth and the government hid it. I mean, yeah, you have to watch the show, but it does just work as a sci-fi story. If you've never seen the show, granted, I do think you still probably do need to see the show because this is very much post-season like 5 going into 6. So, but aside from that, just Mulder and Scully, man, I love those characters, and just to see them in a movie. And yeah, you can argue, yeah, it didn't really feel like a movie, and maybe it shouldn't have been in theaters, but it was great. I loved it. So I felt like I needed to give it a mention in my 98 list. So the X-Files movie. My number 8 is fuck, give me a second. My 8, yeah, there you go. Half Baked. Sorry, I don't know why my mind went blank for a second. Half Baked. One of my favorite stoner movies. Dave Chappelle and his buddies, basically, one of his friends end up killing a horse because he overfeeds the horse like basically munchy food, and they have to bail him out, so they start selling weed because Dave works at like a pharmaceutical company or like some kind of like place where they have access to, like, this is like obvious, this is like 98, so the whole legal marijuana thing was kind of like, at the time it was medicinal marijuana, but it was still kind of like new, like that whole concept was new. But it's a great stoner comedy, but I also think it's just a good comedy in general. Like, you cannot be, I feel like the whole narrative with stoner movies that you have to be a stoner to like them is not true. Like, I feel like you can not be a stoner and still enjoy it. It's just a funny movie. The scene where dude who works at the fucking fast food place is, I hate you, or no, fuck you, you're alright, fuck you, on the thing is fucking great. Yeah. It's a great little 90s movie. Granted, there's only one element I don't like, and that's the girl he's in love with, Mary Jane. Because it's play on the whole Mary Jane meme. My thing is, her character isn't likable, and the whole lesson kind of is a little like, he basically, oh, you do be me, you gotta give up being a stoner. It's like, fuck you, bitch. So there is that aspect a little bit, but I also just think she just wasn't like, and it's crazy because I loved her in The Craft. So, because it's the same girl from that movie as the love interest, but yeah. So that's my number 7. How high? How high? Half Baked, sorry. My number 7. Fuck, I am fucking up my numbers right now. 8. That 8 was Half Baked. 7 is Godzilla 98. Sorry, guys. I know it's not a good Godzilla movie. This is definitely more of a nostalgia thing. It's one of those movies as a kid. I was 2 when this came out, and I was in a Jurassic Park, so it just, even though, yeah, it's clearly just supposed to be Jurassic Park, but it felt more like a ripoff Jurassic Park than like Godzilla. But it's a fun monster movie. I think if you take out it's supposed to be, they called it Godzilla, you change the name around, it's a fun monster movie. I think it gets going quick. I like the whole little story. I think the soundtrack's actually very underrated. And I'm not talking about the Puff Daddy song. I think that song's a meme. I do listen to it, but it is a meme song. It's more just the general soundtrack that actually plays throughout the movie. I actually think it's really good. And some of them have practical effects. Maybe not for the baby Godzillas, but like when the Zilla himself, those scenes actually look really good. Like, they still hold up. Like, I rewatched the film like a year ago, and it still holds up. And I do love the design. I will admit the ending's stupid. It makes no sense how Zilla would get stuck on that bridge. Realistically, that those cables would have broke, the whole bridge would have collapsed, but whatever. And the baby Zilla scene is straight up just velociraptors. But aside from that, I do like that movie. Granted, there's a little tweak. I do think the more I rewatch it, Jean Reno's character, dude from Profession, he should have been the main character. I think he was far more interesting of a character. Don't hate Matthew Broderick. He could have been one of the side characters, but I wouldn't have made him a main character. And Audrey Fucker. They, never really, she was probably the only real other character I didn't really like in the movie. But aside from that, I love this movie. It's a nostalgia thing for me. I acknowledge it's not a good Godzilla movie. And it probably doesn't deserve the name Godzilla, but if you just take out that and just look at it as like a dumb late 90s monster flick, I think it does it right. And actually, some of those effects do look good. Even when it's Godzilla's moving around, it looks good. The effects hold up. The baby Zilla effects look shit. When they aren't moving, when it's just practical, they're fine, but when they start moving, they do look kind of shit. But they clearly put more budget into the actual Zilla instead of the whole baby Zilla. That's probably why the effects for the baby Zillas look kind of shit, to be honest. They're clearly CGI. Zilla seems like it seemed like they put way more work into that. But aside from, I love this movie. I will always will. So that's my number 7. Yeah, you could argue it probably should be lower, and some movies should probably not be behind it, but fuck it. Because like I said with this list, it's not necessarily the best. Granted, my top 5, I might put a little bit more okay, these are the best to me. But at least the middle, I don't necessarily look at that as best. For me, there is that aspect of how much do I rewatch this movie, And I love the faculty. I don't rewatch that movie all the time. Same with the X-Files movie. I only really watch the X-Files movie if I'm watching the show. If I'm rewatching the show. But, like I did recently, I rewatched the show, so between 5 and 6, I put that movie on. But I don't, actively watch it, especially when I'm not watching the show. So, that's why I had to put this one on my number 7. My number 6, Small Soldiers. I just love the whole, especially as a kid, these military toys, and oh man, the fact that these toys try to fucking kill people is the crazy part. Tommy Lee Jones as the general, the head of basically the bad guys, or the main soldier team. I'm definitely gonna review this movie. This is gonna be another one I'm gonna review. It's a little bit like Chucky, but it has that well, because they're not just outright murdering people, but they do try to murder the last few people, because the people turn on them. And I'll get more into the story later. But you have a young Kirsten Dunst in this movie. It's just, it brings seeing living toys. It kind of goes into that, but it does have a little bit of dull stuff in it, and just the stop motion actually looks pretty good. The toys, when they're moving, the effects hold up. So I'm gonna rewatch this one maybe soon. I might review this one soon. I do look at it as kind of a summer movie, so maybe I'll review it in a few weeks. So we'll see. My number 5 is American History X. This, to me, I reviewed this movie. This is still my favorite review that I've ever done on my channel. The story of Derek. I've said this a lot. My favorite, not just Ed Norton movie, but my favorite performance in a film ever. Literally. And the fact that there are people out there who think it's some neo-Nazi support movie. No, you actually gotta watch the movie. It's literally the ultimate anti-racist movie. like, and it's like all sides, not just like, black against white, white against white against black, all racism. Edward Furlong, who, like, I always talk about Ed Norton in this movie, but Edward Furlong's performance as Danny is so good. Like, throughout the film and the whole narration, but specifically the scene, the, the curb stomps, which I'll talk about in a second. Danny's performance in that scene was so believable. Like, yeah, Ed Norton's acting in that scene alone, no words. He's just getting arrested. He's just looking at Danny, and they're just looking at each other. But yeah, and I love like the black and white scenes. I love that they don't just outright make Derek this evil monster. Like, I remember seeing Ed Norton talk about this in an interview. He wanted to write Derek like a person, not just this generic. He used the word monster. I don't think he used the word generic, but basically like that. Just generic bad guy who says mean words. He actually was a character who had an arc. Like I said, the reason I said it's my favorite performance in the film, the amount of feelings Derek makes you feel. Obviously anger, but then he reforms later on, and then that scene when Danny dies, and the whole cycle of hate continues, but it's also a movie. It tells a good story. Yeah, it's a hard watch, I will tell you that. It's definitely, that's why I was originally putting in my top 4, but then I thought I don't actively, I do watch this movie, but I don't watch it all the time. Because yeah, this isn't just one you could just put in like some of the other movies on this list. This is definitely like a hard, it's like you got to be in the mood to watch it, but the story it tells is worth it. Very sad ending. Avery Brooks's performance too. Cisco from Deep Space Nine, he's so good in this movie. Yeah. So many great performances. Beverly D'Angelo as Derek's mom. Just everybody's performance in general is like on point. So I definitely recommend it. Like I said, it's a hard watch. You have to be in the kind of right mood to watch it. It's definitely not just one you can just put on like you can with my top 4, right? But yeah, so that's my number 5. Sorry, number 4 is Rush Hour. The first Rush Hour, to me, my opinion, fucking one of the greatest buddy cop movies after, in my opinion. It's ironic because Lethal Weapon 4 came out this year. So it's kind of funny to see that this movie came out and Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan, it's the same case. With Lee and Carter. They had instant chemistry. The moment, the first scene together. I'm not a skycap. Just so quotable. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? That's one of the fucking funniest scenes. And this was at a time when you can actually just laugh at shit. And not no one was getting offended either side. They were making fun of everybody in this movie. Jackie Chan being able to show off his action. This is basically the movie that really made Jackie Chan big. Pretty much, if you remember after this was when he was in everything. I love the Shanghai Noon movies, but that was partially made, just to be real, because they were okay, let's do Rush Hour, but now with a different person with Jackie Chan. That's kind of what they did after a while. And some of, like I said, I thought the Shanghai Noon movies, Noon and Night, I love both of those. But yeah, I love the simplicity of the plot. It led to, in my opinion, all a great franchise. I love all 3 movies. To me, this is the best one. I think the third one might be the funniest. I tend to love this one the most. Just the scene where Lee and Carter do the stakeout together, and just they start, kind of becoming friends, and saying war. It's so iconic. It very much. I watch this movie all the fucking time, man. I'm not gonna lie. I watch this one a lot because it's just so good. Even like I've watched people's reactions to it just because I think it's that funny of a movie. I want to see what people's reactions are to it. So yeah, it's definitely one of the best. It's my opinion after Lethal Weapon. It's probably my second favorite buddy cop series. Yeah. So that's my number two, three. Fucking hell. Oh my dude. Two. Bride of three. Sorry, Bride of Chucky. My opinion, one of the best entries in the Chucky franchise. I thought it was a good movie after. I know a lot of people don't like Bride of Chucky. I mean, Child's Play 3. I think it's fine. It's just after, the first Child's Play, and then you got Child's Play 2, and then it's sandwiched, Child's Play 2, and then this one, which, my opinion, was a nice revitalization of the franchise. It was like a nice little spark. I love Chucky's new look in this one. I remember I watched this one pretty much a little bit after I had watched Child's Play 3. And I remember just being kind of shocked at the different tone. The soundtrack, very metal. I mean, Living Dead Girl in the opening credits is awesome. Jennifer Tilly is an awesome addition to the franchise. And I love how they added her, but it didn't feel like a retcon or like, oh, this character's made up. Like, no, they actually put work in her into her addition. Jennifer Tilly played it so good, you know. And so Chucky comes back to Tiffany, but Tiffany thinks, he gave her this wedding ring, this ring as like a wedding thing, but no, it was just like to pawned off and he just gave it to her. So she locks him in piss. He basically kills her and then turns her into a doll like him, hence Bride of Chucky. And Jennifer Tilly and Brad Dourif's chemistry is on point, and I think that's why it works so well. Is because Jennifer Tilly was the right choice to be his wife. I don't know if anybody else would have worked. So, and I actually like that they make it like cheesy. Yeah, there's the scene. I thought the scene where Chucky's like having sex with her, and Tiffany asked, "Do you have a rubber?" And he's like, "Do I have a rubber? I'm all rubber." That's great. Katherine Heigl, I'll admit, her and the main dude are probably my only like, not necessarily criticisms. I guess, well, I'll say it. They're a little bit of criticism. I just think they kind of bring down the movie. I don't think they don't have any chemistry with each other. I don't think Katherine Heigl's a bad actress, but I mean, I've kind of always felt like that when I was watching this movie. I'm just like, when she's on screen, like even her friend who's gay who ends up getting killed later on, he was a better character to me. I felt like I don't know. I just didn't think Katherine Heigl fit this universe. I think that was the other thing. She felt like she should have been in like a different movie. Same thing with the other dude. Like they just maybe if they should they should have recast them. And I get it. They're supposed to be like because the Chucky and Tiffany are murdering people along the way to the road trip to get them back to New Jersey to get Chucky's amulet, which all that is kind of a retcon a little bit because Chucky had it on him, but I guess it's fine. Well, especially because he gets it in the second movie. That's now that I'm thinking about it, is a little bit of a plot hole. Like, because in the second movie, he has it. He has the amulet. So whatever. It's little things like I could kind of get over. It is Chucky. Its lore isn't as like I'm like, oh, I'm so. The lore needs to be tight, like let's say Halloween, right? So it's a little bit like I could kind of get over it, even though that is a plot hole. I can't like not point that out, but I do think it's still a great watch. In my opinion, it's one of my favorites to watch in the series. One, two, and then this one are like probably my main three in terms of like great Chucky movies. It's like my trilogy of Chucky movies. Two, one, this one. So it's my number three of the year. My number two is of course um, fucking Lethal Weapon 4. My opinion, one of the best entries in the franchise. I know some people don't like it. They like, I feel like 3 and 4 are the ones that kind of get ripped on a little bit. Like, I think people like 3 and 4, but I do think, I feel like 4 specifically gets kind of criticized most some of the humor. I tend to see a lot of criticism towards Butters, which is Chris Rock's character. I like him. I thought he was a fine addition. He didn't feel like he was just playing Chris Rock. I mean, there was a little bit of that, but he did actually still feel like playing a character. And I actually thought he had solid chemistry with Riggs and Murtaugh. So I think if you have chemistry with them, it's fine. I can kind of, and I didn't feel like his character was that annoying. I thought fucking Leo still great. I love it. Does That's why a little bit like I'm fine. I'm hyped for Lethal Weapon 5, but then there's a part of me that's like I could have been fine with 4 being it. It does end it perfectly. Lee and Murtaugh have, they're going in different like kind of different points. Like Murtaugh, sorry, Riggs and Murtaugh. I don't know why I said Lee. I was thinking Rush Hour. Riggs, is about to get married to Lorna. Yeah, she was pregnant, so yeah, we didn't get to see as much like fight scenes with her. Granted, the one scene where she does fight when when Jet Li's men take the Hongs, but aside from that, yeah, but we still got a little bit of her in the story. Murtaugh's daughter is Rian's about to have a baby, so he's about to become a grandfather. So it's like I do like that aspect about the movie. And I just kind of like that. It's almost like an appreciation of just Riggs. I mean, they end up becoming captains. It's it, and even the way it ends, everybody takes a big picture, like everybody basically from the franchise, and then why can't we be friends? Place in the credits is perfect. Jet Li as the villain is awesome, and this is the movie that basically made his career. And Screen Rant is trying to be like, oh, this baby's scared. Go get fucked. This is the movie that literally made Jet Li a household name, just like Rush Hour did with Jackie Chan. This is the movie that basically, after this, he was kind of putting everything going into like the 2000s. Like how much Jet Li movies we got. Same thing with Jackie Chan. It's like, but Jet Li in this is he was so good as the villain. That final fight, yeah, he beat Riggs and Murtaugh's ass like physically, but it was still a good fight though. And I love the whole setup when it's like they know they're gonna get their ass whooped, but they just kind of acknowledge it anyway. Yeah, yeah. I watch this one all the time. To me, it's my third favorite. It's 1, 3, this one. Like I like 2. I just the apartheid story to me a little bit dates it, whereas I feel like 1, 3, and 4 are like timeless. But I do think 2 is still good. But I like all of them. I just think this one's my third favorite. And just Jet Li is the villainous. To me, he's my favorite villain of the movies, if I'm being honest. And I think this franchise had pretty good villains for the most part. I thought he stood, and I like that he didn't talk. He's very That scene where he kills the dad of the Hongs, not his dad, like his uncle, because like he was forcing them, to make fake money, and he said, "No, until I see my uncle, like until like my uncle's safe or something," and fucking Jet Li just grabs the dude by the throat and snaps his neck, like just casually. It's like, bruh, like just casually breaks his neck, like, yeah, I love that scene. So very much love this movie. I watch this one all the time. So that's my number 2. And of course, my number 1 is Blade. The movie that put Marvel on the map. The I One of Wesley Snipes' best roles. That iconic opening scene at the club. That fucked me up as a kid, man. The fucking blood, fucking sprinklers. It's like, oh my god. You think it's like this regular club, and then it's like the blood starts falling. You see all these vampires covered in blood. Then their teeth are like coming out. Like, that's the one thing about this movie too. It tries to actually be a horror. Yeah, it's an action movie, especially towards the end. I think one of the reasons this was like, because remember, this is a year after Batman or Robin, which did a lot of damage to comic book movies for the time. That's why I've kind of always said the first X-Men movie is really what did. I mean, yeah, this movie kind of was in a way, the blueprint, in a way, like the test, but at the time, a lot of people didn't know Blade was a comic book character. They marketed, oh, this is Wesley Snipes just being a dude who kills vampires. That's it. So you didn't, not all people probably didn't know he was a comic book character. That's why I was saying X-Men was the one, because X-Men was like everyone knows there, yeah. But this movie is great. That opening scene, I love the action, the fact that it was R-rated. You know why that works? Because that's what the character is. They made it work. And Whistler's a great character. I love the villain in it. You know, yeah, he's not the greatest villain in the world, but he's decent. It's just in general a great CBM. The fight scenes are awesome. The soundtrack's great. That scene where he tortures the uber fat vampire is fucking awesome. Wesley Snipes just killed that role to where even to this day, man, I don't know if anyone else can really do it. Like Mahershala Ali's a good actor. Wesley Snipes was Blade. Like he embodied that character, and that's why it will just never be another one like it. And just that I'm gonna say again, that fucking rave scene. You can't top that. Blade just being a badass, just fucking up. Then yeah, when he comes in and starts fucking up all the vampires, I actually think the vampire lore is done very well. There's actually some genuine horror moments in this movie too. That scene where Wesley Snipes like, what the fuck, which makes for a great GIF is, it's funny. Yeah, I watch this one all the fucking time. Like, yeah, it's a comic. Like, I know Blade's a comic book character, but I almost don't look at it fully as a comic book movie. I look at it as Blade just fucking up vampires. Yeah, very much recommend if you've not seen it. Just alone, if you love Wesley Snipes, watch this movie. So that's my number one. Can't wait to get into 1999 because 99, like I mentioned, there's a lot. There's a lot in 99 when you think about it. So I'll be doing that next week. Like I've loved this series, and yeah, it sucks we're gonna be ending the 90s soon. I think 90s is a great decade. I mean, just some of these lists are big. It's like 98, look, 90 and 90s in general. There's just a lot of great ones. But yeah, so 99 next week. So tomorrow, Casino Royale, which in my opinion, one of the best Bond movies. I've not seen any of the other Craig ones. So next week I'm going to be going into those blind. So I know what happens in the last one, which I heard was absolute shit. And then just from what I heard about it, it sounds pretty bad. So we'll see. But yeah, Casino Royale tomorrow. I remember really loving that. Eva Green, Mads Mikkelsen as the villain. I really loved it. I remember seeing it in theaters. Daniel Craig, I think in that one was good. I only know of him in this movie, and he was good. So he's not as good as like the others, but if I'm just talking about just this movie I saw him in, he was good. So I'm gonna be going into the later Craig era ones blind, like I said. So anyway, 98 was a fun list to make. Can't wait to do 1999. But as usual, 1998 was fun. Talk to y'all later. Peace.